This is Shelley Craft coming to you live on SNNLive. We're coming to you from the New Orleans Investment Conference 2017 in New Orleans. I have with me today Rod Shier from Copper Mountain Mining Corporation. It's got two symbols. Let me give them to you. One is CMMC on the TSX board and CPPMF in the U.S. on OTC markets. Welcome to SNNLive.
Thank you, Shelley. I appreciate you having us here.
It's good to have you. Let's get started with an overview of the company. Please tell the audience.
Sure. Copper Mountain Mining, we're about the fourth largest copper mine in Canada. We're a producer, and we've been in production since 2011, and our partner is Mitsubishi Materials Corporation.
What's the history of the company?
The history goes back to that 2007 when my partner Jim O'Rourke and myself, we started the company. We brought in a team to do exploration for 2007, 2008, had one of the larger exploration programs in Canada. We proved up a 5 billion pound resource. In 2009, we brought in Mitsubishi Materials as our strategic financial partner. We raised the capital. In 2010, we had the permits, and by 2011, we had built this $500 million project.
What differentiates your company from the others?
Well, I think one of the big things, Shelley, is that we're a producer. We produce about $250 million a year in revenues. Our partners, Mitsubishi Materials, a very strategic financial partner. They helped arrange our low-cost financing for this operation, and 100% of our product goes to Japan, so we never have to look where to sell it, and we get paid world market prices from the LME.
What's the value catalyst in the company?
I think the value catalysts are threefold in the company, and it's along our business plans. Our first strategy was to obtain a stable operating base, and we're there now. Our design capacity was 35,000 tons per day through the mill, and we're running above 40,000 tons per day through the mill, so well above design capacity. Second, we're now starting to execute on exploration activities at the site. We've seen copper being very strong, above $3 now, so we feel a little better at freeing up some of those purse strings. And then finally, our third part of the strategy is M&A opportunities. Where do we find that Copper Mountain number 2?
What's your backup plan?
The good thing about being a producer is we've got a long life stable base here that we've developed, and our backup plan is a long life mine. And even if we just continue and change debt value for equity value, that stock price will be appreciating. But it's a challenge out there to find that next Copper Mountain, and the world is big, but we're certainly able to do that, and we have a very strong track record in that effect. Rod,
what's your background?
My background's more financial, and I've been in the mining industry since the 90s. Business partner Jim, he's on the mining side, Mining Hall of Fame, and we have a whole suite of people at the Vancouver and the mine office.
And anybody else you want to mention in the management team?
I think, there's people like Don Strickland. He's our VP operations at the mine site. We certainly have Bill Marak and Peter Holbeck, who are exploration and mining, respectively, in Vancouver. And then, of course, there's about 450 team members at the mine site up in Copper Mountain that we can draw on some of those expertise as well.
I want to ask you a little offbeat question. We're only talking about copper. Do you have anything else up there besides copper? Because usually there is.
Well, that's a very good question, Shelley. And the good thing here is, there's byproduct credits here are gold and silver. So we produce about $45 million a year of gold and silver in addition to the copper that we produce annually, about $250 million in revenues.
So what do you think the price rise in copper is due to? I would think part of it has to do with electric vehicles, correct?
Yes, Shelley, I think you're right. I think you're seeing a lot of new electric vehicles come to the road. I saw a study just last week, actually. They're saying by 2020, we're going to have 20 million vehicles on the road, and that's going to add significantly to the copper demand. Where the supply is coming from, I don't know. So I think we're heading into a real squeeze for the copper markets because you've got infrastructure, you've got other areas, like even in the States here, Shelley, where your power is gone from coal and switching over to other sources, including wind power, which is much more copper intensive. So if people believe that you're headed for a strong copper market, Copper Mountain is certainly an area to look at.
So Rod, let's get your website out there for our investor audience, if you would.
Sure, Shelley. It's CMMC.TO, and there's lots of good information for investors on that website.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rod Shier, Copper Mountain Mining Corporation. It's a publicly traded company. Two symbols, CMMC on the TSX and CPPMF on the OTC markets in the U.S. I'm Shelley Kraft, this is SNNLive, and we're coming to you live from the New Orleans Investment Conference 2017 here in New Orleans. Rod, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you very much, Shelley.